Hey there, I just wanted to share with you some resources that could be helpful for researching Michigan history. And I thought we would start with just looking at print books that we have in the library that you can check out. And this isn't everything that we have related to Michigan, but it's a majority of the section. And so we can just kind of look at that there are obviously books on the state in general. We have some books specific to Cass County. We have some things for the UP, DWAK, of course, the Jiffy Company up in Chelsea. We've got some specific cities, so like Adrian, Baroda, let's see, Detroit, the Kellogg's, based out of Battle Creek. Let's see, we've got some more DWAK stuff, the Rondock Stove Company. We've got some more DWAK here, Grand Rapids, Hartford, etc. So those are an option for sources if you want to research anything, especially that's local history or one of these cities. And of course, I can always get books for you through interlibrary loan too. So if you would like to use a book as a source, which sometimes can be useful because, books can just go into more depth on a topic, feel free to request something. And let's actually jump over to Wired. Of course, if you're going to request anything or to get to our databases or the library catalog, you'll want to go to the Library Resources tab. And requesting over here, the ILL request form, you can use that. You don't have to use that if you would rather email me, Jennifer Zimmer, at jzimmer@swmich.edu. You can just say, hey, I would like a book on this topic, and I can look for some things for you. If you have a specific book you're looking for, you can still use the email if you want, or you can use the ILL request form and fill out the pertinent information. And while we're talking about forms here, of course, there's the Ask a Librarian form where you can send any questions. So as you are working on your research, feel free to reach out. Let me know if you're having any trouble, if you have any questions, or just if you want any suggestions, because obviously in this video, I'm just going to give general suggestions that won't be specific to whatever topic you'll be researching, because I have no way of knowing what topics you might choose. So once you've chosen a topic, feel free to reach out and ask if there are any specific databases that might be particularly useful for the topic that you've chosen, or any sort of other resources. So, speaking of databases, there is one that I want to recommend to you. I know a lot of you have probably done some research in some of our databases, probably have used ProQuest Central, and chances are good that that will be a great option for you for your Michigan history research as well. So for any of you who haven't used it before, ProQuest Central is what I'm referring to. That is our biggest database, covers a wide range of topics, so often very useful. But I want to look at something specialized to Michigan history today. So what we're going to go to is the Michigan E-Library. And when we get to their page, we can go down a little bit to these alphabet shortcuts, and we're looking for a database called Michigan History Magazine. So we're going to click on M and scroll down a little bit, and here's Michigan History Magazine. Now, this could be useful for you to find some articles about whatever topic you choose using a search like you're probably used to for some other things, but this also could be useful as you're looking for topic ideas. So you could go to this publication search and go to list all publications. And you can see there are two, and you probably think, okay, well, they both say Michigan History Magazine. And that is because the first one is from 2009 to current. And so my guess is that that's when they started having the magazine online more, whereas these go back before 2009 and are probably digitized versions of the print magazine. So you could go into one of these. So let's say we'll go into the more recent ones. And you can choose a year here. So let's just say, let's do 2019. And then we can choose an issue. So let's just go to the November one. And look, I'm not saying that this is a super efficient approach to finding sources. It's equivalent to if you were to walk up to a rack of print magazines and just start flipping through and see if anything looks interesting. So obviously this is much more for just browsing, but if you are just trying to think of ideas, it might be something to try. So you can just kind of scroll down and see some of the articles, and you can see it's talking about architectural sculpture in Detroit, space-related things with Ann Arbor. We've got some things about Route M66. Let's see, what else? Historical house in Calhoun County. Houghton, the birthplace of professional hockey, which I think is kind of interesting. I guess I never really thought about where professional hockey started, but it kind of makes sense if it was going to start somewhere in Michigan, that Houghton would be a good candidate, because that is extremely far north in Michigan. So you're practically in Canada. So anyway, you can scroll through and look for some other possible things that might be interesting. I actually had a student one time researching the Mackinac Bridge and how it came to be built and the process of building it and all that kind of stuff. So that's a possibility. We've got some stuff about Kalamazoo. So let's say, let's just open up an article here. And again, probably most of you are familiar with using some of these databases and some of these tools. Of course, I have other videos in YouTube that will explain how to use some of the other databases and those tools. I will just show you one thing really quickly while we're here, because obviously you'll need to cite your sources. So if you're going to use this source, you would want to go up to Cite, and then you have your options. I believe your professor usually requests that you choose one of these three styles. So it's going to show MLA first. If you want to change it, you'll click one of the other ones. And of course, some of you perhaps have heard me mention, if you've had me talk to your English class in the past, that you always want to double check any citation tools. And they've actually added a disclaimer here now, which I think is good, because actually these Gale databases are the most notorious for having some things that need to be fixed in their citations, especially related to capitalization, especially if you're using MLA style. So just keep that in mind. Whatever citation tool you may use, you want to double check it. So that is that database. And another thing I want to point out is that we have here in town the DWAK Area History Museum, which is pretty cool. Again, if you're looking for ideas for topics, you could come to the DWAKmuseum.info website and kind of poke around. They've got some stuff on Round Oak, which again I mentioned was a big company that started in DWAK. You could go to the exhibits and scroll through and just see that, okay, obviously the Potawatomi Indians have quite a history in this area. Underground Railroad. Let's see, we have, again, Round Oak, the Dogwood Fine Arts Festival. Ed Lowe invented kitty litter out of Cassopolis. We've got an astronaut, an Olympic medalist. He was a wrestler, I believe, an inventor, etc. You could also go to, let's see, the DWAK History Timeline. Again, this is just browsing. This is just looking for ideas. You can go through their timeline, and it gets a little bit more detailed. If we get further down here, there are all these slides, but then if you get down to the bottom, I should be scrolling on the side instead of using my mouse. Let's do that. So there's a lot of information here, but if you want to skip down to the bottom, it's going to give you more of a list. So for example, looking at important events in DWAK history, you can look through and find things about the orphan train, about starting SMC, presidential visits, things like that. So this is another possibility. Again, like I said, please do reach out for help, for suggestions, and I would be more than happy to help you out with that.